Growing up without our parents was a rough experience, but the worst happened when my brother got into drugs.
He spent all our savings to purchase drugs.
Isolated himself from his family members, and spent most of his time with his friends.
Wow, I did high as I did like this.
He got into many drugs from pills to weed, syrup, and he injected himself. He became very violent and got into trouble. He spent days outside without coming home. The drugs began to eat him gradually. It was painful seeing him lose his mind, but it was more painful when we lost him forever.
Stay safe. Don't do drugs. This is Narco Tales. Hello and welcome to Narco Tales, the space where brokenness becomes a bridge. I am your host, Netta Dozier, and today's story is proof that even the strongest can fall, but the brave can rise. Our guest today is a man who once lived two lives, one the world applauded and another that nearly destroyed him. Hi David, thank you for joining us.
Hello, Nita. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So let's start with a bit of introduction. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, my name is David Moses Olofo. I grew up in Kaduna State, and I'm from Cross River State. Had my education in University of Jos and even Bauchi, and I'm a media specialist and someone who has a lived experience, first-hand lived experience of drug use. Yeah.
How did your journey into substance use begin?
Oh, interesting. So my journey into substance use this started as a conscious one.
Okay.
My environment and my upbringing has a lot that influenced my getting into substance use. I was born in Ekwa Hospital in Nasarawa, Kaduna State, and our street then is Nasarawa Street, AB10 Nasarawa Road. That's where we used to live, and it's an environment surrounded by not so much of a good role models. There are a lot of criminals there. There are a lot of people who are involved in unruly activities. So we grew up watching them doing these things as early as the time we go to school in the morning, where they send us to buy hot akara, moi moi, and pap. We see these elderly ones just sitting outside, smoking and drinking. And sometimes when you're back from school, they get to send you to buy some of these things.
For them?
Yeah. So you buy it. If you refuse, of which our parents used to tell us to refuse, you become a mark for others to taunt you.
Oh.
Yes. So you go and buy alcohol, you buy cigarette for them. You know, you come back, you deliver. So one day, what is remaining underneath the bottle, you see, like, what's this? How does this feel? Let me feel this.
Curiosity.
And then you test. So they keep sending you, and eventually one day you become curious that you want to know what is actually in this thing, and you want to find out what is inside. So of course, we experimented with some, you know, especially alcohol. You taste the base of it, and they have these joints where they sell alcohol. And then we also have where they make this local northern alcohol, burukutu, if you're familiar with it. So those places are called canteen. So we also go there. They send us, we buy. We see fathers who come back drunk, you know. We see first-hand irresponsibility while growing up. So that influenced to an extent the fact that we want to start experimenting on these things. And then, you know, started with a little bit of testing of the alcohol, testing of, you know, the hot drink and what have you. And then I'm someone who had a very tough childhood. As early as the age of 10, I've started hawking in the market. Yes, like they'll send me from the house to go to the market and sell and interact with adults. So you go to the market, you know all the corners where they sell what, you engage with them, you interact with them, things happen along the way. And we know all the dark spots where they sell the drink, where they sell smoke. And, while hawking, I was schooling as well.
Okay.
So I happened to attend a government day secondary school. That's for the secondary stage. But whilst I was in the primary school, I attended Babandodo Primary School, LEA. It's in Kakuri, Kaduna State, for those who are familiar with it. So Babandodo Primary School run morning and afternoon shift. So if I'm in the morning shift, we close by 12. Whilst I come back, I just eat. They load banana on my head and I head to the street to sell. And if I'm in the afternoon shift, I go and sell as early as 8 o'clock. I start selling till about 12. And then till about 11:30, then I come and prepare and go to school. And then we close by evening. It's a very long journey from the school to the house and even to the market where I do the selling. And for every time I'm going to sell or I'm going to school, I had to pass a certain burial ground.
Okay.
In a place called Angbo Mission. So that's where you pass. And then you see a lot of youths gathered who are not doing anything at them. You see them smoking, you see them drinking, so you get curious, and then you start testing some of these things. Like my first experience with cigarette with myself and 3 of my friends, I think we just went, let's find out what is inside this thing. And then advertisements on radio also played a role in in selling substance use as something cool, And I think this particular advertisement about London cigarette, they play it so nicely on KSMC. Then it's so appealing. So we decided to group ourselves and test it out. So we bought cigarette, we went to a very hidden place, we tried to smoke and it was really bad. Everybody was coughing like, I was this in this thing, why are people doing this thing? And then, but that first experience has already clicked something. Over time, when you grow up, when you're in a setting and gathering, you want to identify, you want to let people know you can easily go and you smoke something, looks cool on TV. And so it felt cool. So eventually we started experimenting with alcohol, cigarette. Then we graduated to smoking marijuana, which is weed, So I attended government boys secondary school. There were a lot of boys who were already doing drugs.
Yeah.
So sometimes we had to scale the school fence to, go outside. And when you go outside, you can't go back home because they know it's not off school time yet. So we go and hang out in uncompleted buildings, sit there and smoke and we love music. So it was somewhere while that is going on, music is going on. So that became like a daily habit of experimenting. And whilst you come there, you notice there are some youths who doesn't just take the marijuana or smoke or alcohol. What they do is to mix it up with pills, so they introduced some of this pill, and one time I was like, let me try this out. And I tried one of the pills. I remember diazepam. And I felt as if my whole muscle and joint was giving way, and it was a horrifying experience. But after doing it once, twice, and also experimenting with Retinol and Tramadol and Exol, they just, today you hear this, tomorrow you hear this. This is cool. This is cooler than this. If this happened to you, they tell you this wouldn't have happened if you actually had taken this. So we started experimenting with those things. And before you know, we are taking all sorts of things, from smoking to drinking to taking pills and what have you. And of course, we were on constant issues with the law because we get to sit down with people who we don't know if they have committed crime outside before coming to sit with us. There are places we call jungle. So we'll go to jungle. If you go to jungle, even if you don't have money, somebody's always there to offer you something to, to drink or smoke or pop, as we used to call it in the street parlance. So yes, that's my experience of experimenting with substance use.
Did family or, friends, any other person know that you were doing these things?
Family only came to friends. Yes, of course. My friends were following me to do it. And for family, it took a very long time before my family realized I was already into this, because I was going outside to sell. Even whilst I was in secondary school, I was still hawking. Yes, so imagine a teenage boy still going out. So I was always outside. So if I'm coming back, probably in the evening, and I just crash out and nobody noticed. Tomorrow I'm out again. So there's no days off.
Yeah, true.
Wait for school, and so family, didn't know much. Friends, yes. Family found out later, but friends, we're doing these things together. So go cast me now. Me man will cast you. So it's like that.
Okay. We're going on a short break now, and when we come back, David will take us through when escape became a prison.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Thank you for staying with us. So take us through the moment when your want for these substances turned into need.
When my want for these substances turned into need was the night I was inside my room and I realized I couldn't sleep if I don't take any substance.
And you were still in high school at this time?
Yes, I was. That was when I realized at first I lived in denial for long. I was like, it's probably, I'm not too tired like I should be. That's why I am finding it difficult to fall asleep. But over time, I now realize that whenever I fall back to these substances, it's easy to sleep, especially when we're experimenting with codeine, with cough syrup. That's when you realize that when you take it, you can sleep. When you don't, you can't sleep. I can recall one of my friends describing how he felt because he couldn't sleep. He said he felt like he should hang himself before the morning because it was not just the sleeplessness, it was also coming with a lot of anxiety and fear. Yeah.
Okay, so walk us through your dependence now on these substances.
Okay, so because I was into poly substance use, which is mixing this and that, one of my friends used to call it last. That means you mix alcohol, you mix pills, you join with cigarette and smoke and all of that. So when that became very intense was the fact that I didn't know which one exactly I became dependent on.
Okay.
Because I was taking a whole lot of things. Yes. So it was difficult to unravel which one should I start dealing with. But I realized particularly the pills, they had a serious hold on me when I noticed I couldn't function properly without them. So beyond the fact that I was helping to sell, I was hawking, I was also doing menial works like construction work. We used to call it concrete then. And concrete is a work that requires strength. It requires a lot of muscle. If you carry laterals, you carry gravels, you carry cement, a whole lot of stuff. So I was involved in that every day because I had to stop. I got to a season I can't continue doing this. So, but I needed to look for a way to still, maintain my industrious nature. So I kept taking some of this energizing, tramadol particularly, kept taking it. And then I have this friend, God rest his soul, Dixon Misali, who we call Epic. So Epic is this guy who is very industrious. Over time, I come to learn that he has the spirit of Bezalel and Aholiab. These were the people who were given the task of designing the Ark of the Covenant in the scriptures. They had knowledge of different things, like from carpentry to painting to a lot of stuff. He could do a lot of things, but he was depending on substances to do that. So we became like his apprentice to follow him all the time. So if he's going, for any of those work, we go together, and our way we buy drugs to energize the process of doing this work. And we kept on with that for years. And whilst doing that all the time, we now realize that we've gotten too deep to just run out, because we now realize that even if you want to cut short, so okay, today I don't want to take anything, the signal you get from your system, the way your body reacts to you, you will know that there's a problem. And if you skip for a day or two, the second day becomes worse, the third day becomes worse, the fourth day, I don't even think you can hold it, and you just fall back. So that cycle continued over time. And we knew we're in deep soup.
I'm going back.
Yeah.
Did you ever try to stop early on?
Oh yes. Oh, of course. If if willpower was to be my superpower, I would be a Superman in letting go of drug use long time ago, when I realized it was a problem. But you see, just sheer willpower cannot solve something that is a health challenge.
Yeah.
Because we were experimenting with substances. These substances were made with chemicals. And over time, it has affected a part of our mind that you have to fall back to it. So I tried a couple of times. Sometimes I go a week, 2 weeks. But those are really agonizing periods, because I on one hand, I didn't want anybody to know what I was going through. On the other hand, I just want to dust it off the way I just started. Let me just leave this thing. I tried a couple of times. I tried a lot of times, but I couldn't help myself, because I was already knee deep into these things. I couldn't do anything about it. All I could do is to cut. And then when the family noticed, so I'm like, okay, actually, I want to be a good guy. I want to stop this thing, but it's not possible. I'm already deep into it. So I tried to no avail. But interestingly, that's what led me to start studying, right? I came across a book called The Autobiography of Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a very interesting figure. I find his personality very intriguing. He was someone in the US whose father was a reverend who was killed by the Ku Klux Klan, the racist Klan in the US. That horrifying experience made him to get into drug use, and then he got into crime, and afterwards he was arrested and taken to prison. So he was already dependent on drug while in the street, but when he now got to the prison, there was no way to get those same drugs that he could get easily on the street. So he went through what they call cold turkey, which is a withdrawal syndrome. And then through this withdrawal syndrome and the suffering, he was able to encounter a certain man called Elijah Muhammad, who helped him become clean, who kept writing letters to him and providing hope and letting him know, there's a future above the dependence and what have you. And that inspired me a lot. I read that in the corner of my room in Angwan Gimbia in Savantasha, Kaduna, and it inspired me a lot. I'm like, okay, if this guy can actually, rise from that and became one of the greatest black voices who spoke against racism in his time, alongside Martin Luther King. So that inspired me. So I made a determination that it may not be a one-off event, but I will do my best to stop. So that was the journey of what led me to start learning, until I discovered some of the things I discovered that helped me. And my elder sister also played a crucial role. She called me and spoke to me one time, like, dude, And I think as at that time she had a relationship where the guy she was dating, his brother was involved in drug use, and that guy was taken to psychiatry a couple of times. So she used to go and visit him. So immediately she noticed one time I was having an argument with my cousin that I was overreacting. She knew there was chemicals involved in this. And then she didn't try to do what most parents and most loved ones do. She didn't try to shame me or talk me down. She just gave me an invite that she needs to speak to me. I should come see her at her office. So I went and met her, and then she asked me, dude, what's happening? I noticed she didn't accuse me of taking substance. She said, I noticed so I'm like, actually, man, I was looking for somebody to speak with. I'm like, actually, I am doing this thing. I'm involved in X, Y, Z. I didn't even mention all. I just mentioned some of the things that won't freak her out. But it was deeper than she thought. But you see, that compassion coming from a family member made me know that, oh, there's someone actually watching, and someone is listening, and someone is willing to hear me out. So that experience of telling her, okay, I'm doing this, I got involved in this, but I'm trying to find my way out, actually helped me, because I made a promise to her that I'm going to find my way out. And then I was seeing a lot of young men like me drowning, and I knew there has to be a way out. So I started, finding a way to swim up the tide and not get drowned in drug use. I cut off a lot of things, but I was still struggling with some. So I kept on. And then I also discovered my purpose, discovered who I truly am. I was not just made for drugs to come and waste my life and become part of the statistics. I'm made for a greater purpose. I know who I am. I know my assignments. So I wouldn't allow drug use to cut me off before I before I passed my message to my generation. So that also made me to prime my choices, to start making conscious decisions to stay away from area where drug use is ongoing. Of course, if we're surrounded by it, but I had to start carving a new narrative, and it led me to where I am today.
What was the scariest part in all of this for you?
The scariest part of this for me was when I saw my friend in the coffin. Yes. Now, we were one of those days. We were sitting and sharing substance, and he told me that he saw himself that he died, and people were crying and they're carrying him in the coffin. So, being under the influence of substances, I laughed it over. And I told him I also saw myself, going, but I refused to go. We were just talking normally. Yeah. So when he said that to me, I took it as a joke until I actually saw my friend in the coffin. It was like over 2-3 weeks after that. So that experience was really scary for me, because this guy can actually die. That means I can actually be in the place of this guy, and I'm no better.
Did he die because of substance abuse?
Well, I wouldn't want to attribute it to that, but I know what we're doing, and it was life-threatening. That's the first and one of the most striking. Secondly, there was a time I went to buy some pills, and a Hausa man met me. It was like, Amayaro, kasan abin nan da kake sha kuwa? Meaning, young man, do you really know these things you're taking? He just said it to me, just simply and plainly. And I'm like, why is this, man? So upon going back that very day, I have sores all over my body. I noticed everywhere was swollen. So I decided it was an accumulation of all the things I was taking. So I decided to go to a pharmacy. Upon entering the pharmacy, all I could remember was entering the door of the pharmacy, and I blacked out. Yeah. Blacked out. Literally. And, the next thing I woke up, I saw myself, and then people were around me, blowing the air. I'm like, what's going on? I knew this cold. Once anything like that again, and may have hit
gone.
my head in the wrong place, and something very fatal may have happened to me. That was a very scary moment for me. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Today's story reminds us how fast the spiral can be. But next week, we uncover the weight, the fallout, the losses, and the moment he said enough. Join us next week as our guest opens up about his fight for freedom. I remain your host, Netta Wedozie.
Indeed, we do. We work with a number of these individuals because we know quite a lot of questions have been asked about some of them getting involved or even glamorizing or glorifying substance abuse on social media. To counter this, we have also gone out to encourage some of them individually and collectively to come out with the right message, with the right information that would sensitize and help our young people rather than those contents that their counterparts or their colleagues post on their handles that mislead quite a lot of our young people. We do all of those partnerships and relationships with some of these people, but then it's an ongoing effort.
Don't do drugs, ooh. Don't do drugs, ooh. Don't try it though. He go choke you, oh. He go steal your sunshine, oh. He go shock you, oh. He don't kill him any youth for my area. Even for your area. When you start it to stop, it not go easy. As you dey drag am go, he dey drag you down. Water come out from my eyes, oh. When I remember all the guys, oh. Way many of them kiki bucket, oh. Some cut to socket, oh. Make we don't forget, oh. No they talk it, oh. Say, don't do drugs. Rock up you see body, oh. Don't do drugs. Don't go wound your busy body. If you die, you go sad, oh. Oh yeah, help me tell somebody. Say, rock up you see body, oh. Body, oh. Body, oh.
This message is brought to you by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA.